Welcome to the Switchblade Sisters Social Club, a true crime podcast where two sisters exploit their worst fears for your entertainment. You're welcome. I'm Dee.
And I'm Rhonda, and together we are the Sake Sisters. For more information, check out our website at www.switchbladesistersocialclub.com or find us on Instagram and Facebook at Switchblade Sisters Social Club.
Thanks for listening. Hi, this is Switchblade Sisters Social Club, where two sisters exploit their worst fears for your entertainment. I'm Dee.
I'm Rhonda.
Hello. So, you're quite late today, so I've had a few rum and cokes after a whole weekend of lots of rum and cokes. So if I die on this podcast, please just tell them I need my stomach pumped.
Oh my God, just don't light any candles because you're highly flammable at the moment.
I know. Because I went to just a pump festival. It was awesome. I want to give a shout out to Popes of Chilitown, Raising Awareness, and Midwich Cuckoos, because they were fucking awesome. Oh, and Risky and the Ridicule, and a bunch of other bands as well. They were all amazing. It was so nice. It was just such a lovely atmosphere, such a lovely community. And not to get too deep, but today was a really difficult day for me because of what's happening in Gaza, obviously ongoing, that's constantly on our mind. But today, 3 British nationals were killed in Gaza, which is horrible. They were aid workers. They had told the government, the Israeli government, where they were going, and it still got bombed. They were in a demilitarized zone, supposedly. Anyway, so, but maybe that means that something will happen, because we all know that 3 British lives equal much more than 30,000+ lives.
Well,
Palestinians.
they're even guilty of killing their own,
Yeah. So it was just a horrible day. And like having worked for a long time in the charity sector working on Palestine, I always have this like fear, because it's happened before, that I know the people involved and I don't. And so then I was relieved, but then I felt guilty because like I don't know them, but they have other friends and family elsewhere,
One journalist I've been working with for the last 5 years, his pregnant wife and 3-year-old were killed.
I mean, we know so many people that have lost so many family members.
There's nobody in Gaza who hasn't lost family members at this stage.
I mean, there's something like 900 whole families that have been wiped out. Think about that. It's just like inconceivable. Even if you're following it like us every single day, working on the issue every single day, it's still inconceivable, because it is so horrendous. And it was really nice this weekend. Like, we have sort of survivor guilt, refugee syndrome, I don't know what to call it, where going out is really awkward. I have it where like when I do everyday normal things, I feel almost guilty that I can when so many people can't. So to go out in the punk community, who is like, they tend to be more socially aware and politically aware. There was a lot of support for Palestine this weekend, which just felt good, It just felt really nice. I don't know how to say it other than that, but it just helped a lot. So I just wanted to say that, because all those people out there who are British or living here don't know what to do or feel helpless or whatever, like just having a bit of solidarity and showing a bit of support, it means the fucking world. So if you know any Palestinians here in the UK, or any over in Gaza or in the West Bank, where it's also fucking awful and doesn't get very much media attention, just reach out and be like, thinking about you. I've had that from so many different people, more so than ever before when things have kicked off back home. And it just means a lot. So just wanted to say that, really, because it's been a tough couple of days, let's put it like that. But on that note, let's talk about something else awful.
Tell me the fucking story.
I'm going to give you some clues, because it's been a while since
I do like it when you do that. I like it when you do that.
Okay. So this is the story about one of the most cursed movies.
I think I know. Okay, give me another clue.
One of our favorite from the 90s.
Should I tell you what I think it is?
Yeah, go on.
The Crow?
Yes.
Oh Oh,
So my other clues were awesome soundtrack that gave our
yes.
gothy teenage hearts even
Oh,
more angst,
oh,
and that there was a death on the set.
yeah. Do you know what? It's funny because a couple of weeks ago you sent me and Isla a photo of you where you look like the female version of Brandon Lee.
I took a photo of me in bed at night and was like, I have no makeup on and I look like fucking Brandon Lee.
You also
Lucky he's
look,
hot, but
I think you look just like Catherine Zeta-Jones.
did you
Oh,
know,
is that so?
one time I went to a gig and the bouncer at the door was like, oh, you look like Catherine Zeta-Jones. And then he literally looked me up and down, not in a pervy way, just in a like Terminator fucking assessment way,
Yeah.
and went, maybe just your eyes.
Oh my God. Okay.
Ouch. Thanks. And then out. So this one, I'm gonna give a little shout out. This one is for Barnaby, aka Poppy, because saw him up in Manchester Punk Festival, and he said he would listen to this episode if I did this topic. So I'm gonna give him like a little Easter egg, like a code word. So Barney, if you're listening to this, I want you to text me cigarette. That's the first thing I saw. All right, so this is the case of Brandon Lee, son of the legend Bruce Lee.
Yep.
Brandon's life was shrouded in intrigue from the start. Following in his father's footsteps, Brandon pursued a career in acting, carving his own path in Hollywood with promising roles. However, on the 31st of March 1993, tragedy struck on the set of The Crow when Brandon was fatally wounded by a prop gun. As investigators delved into the circumstances surrounding his death, questions emerged about negligence, conspiracy theories, and the eerie parallels between Brandon's life and the character he portrayed on screen.
Okay, I'm interested because I never really knew the ins and outs.
And there's so much that happened that we just didn't even know
Oh,
about.
whoa, okay.
So this one, I didn't read a book. There wasn't a book. So I watched a lot of documentaries. The Launchpad podcast, Shadow Play, The Crow documentary. The Crow, The True Story of Hollywood's Most Cursed Movie by Screen Rant. And a bunch of others. And I read a bunch of articles. So all of the sources are in the show notes as per usual. So I want to say that this is one of those films, though, that when you watch it now, I don't think you can appreciate how groundbreaking it was and how different it was to the films out there. Do you remember?
No, because I remember the whole of the 90s kind of being like that.
Maybe,
So
but
why do you
like,
say it was groundbreaking?
okay, well, for start, there
Actually,
wasn't
do you know
all
what?
the
Do you know what?
Marvel superhero comic book films that there are now.
But do you know what? Like looking back on it, when I look back on it now, I think, God, that looks kind of low budget, you know?
Yeah, I mean, it is compared to now, right?
Mm.
But we didn't have all the comic book films.
Mm-hmm.
You had like Batman, but that was pretty much it. You didn't have all the Marvel and all the other superhero films that are kind of based on comics. So they tried to make it have this like comic book feel, which it was, you know, it was one of the first that tried to do that. It was also so dark and so gritty.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember like the whole film is basically shot at night? You know,
Yeah, the whole film like is dark.
it's dark.
Yeah, a little bit like Game of Thrones, you know?
Yeah.
Like how it's like visibly dark.
So it started when Paramount bought the rights of the comics by James O'Barr to this comic book called The Crow. And it was risky because it hadn't really been done that much before. And also the storyline was grim. The storyline is that Shelley Webster and Eric Draven are an engaged couple, happy and in love and gorgeous. And then they're brutally attacked by a gang and they both die. This is the night before Halloween. 1 year later, a crow with magical powers brings Eric Draven back to life to seek revenge. And again, this was like not a film, a theme that was seen that much in Hollywood films, right?
Mm-hmm.
So lots of like rom-com-y things coming out at the time and whatever. But the story itself starts off really sad because James O'Barr wrote the story after he lost his real life fiance to a drunk driver in a car accident.
Oh, that's sad.
he had grown up in foster care and talked about how his life changed when he met his fiance when he was 16 years old. And he dealt with the depression and the despair by drawing this comic, The Crow. So already, like, it's not a surprise that the person that came up with The Crow has suffered that level of heartbreak, because the film is heartbreaking, isn't
Yeah,
it?
it's a really hard scene to watch where when they're being killed and his girlfriend's being attacked.
And the whole film is just like full of sadness. Like, you have to be in a very specific mood to watch The Crow. So so it got bought by Paramount and they started to make it into a film. Do you want to guess, think of the 90s, do you want to guess some of the people that were considered for the role?
Ooh, give me clues.
Fuck. Okay. There's 3 people that I've got here.
Okay.
One of them's dead, and he died outside the nightclub of the other one.
River Phoenix.
Mhm.
Oh, okay.
And
Somebody else died outside that club?
no, he died outside the other one's club.
Johnny Depp?
Yeah. Didn't he own the club, the Viper Rooms?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Or he was there a lot, can't remember.
And then the third one, I can't think of any clues, so I'll just tell you it's Christian Slater. So Johnny Depp,
yeah.
Christian Slater, River Phoenix, all
I don't
considered
think
for the role.
River Phoenix would have fit the role too well because he's a bit
You know, it's just so
clean.
Brendan Lee, it's hard to
Yeah,
imagine
yeah,
anyone
yeah.
else, right?
Yeah.
Maybe Johnny Depp, I can kind of, it just, I don't know, it would have been a totally different film. It just would have. Brendan Lee had gone to drama school and he always talked about the opportunities that he got because of his father. So he was very grateful for that privilege. At the same time, he wanted to make sure that he wasn't just taking advantage of opportunities without any kind of skills or talent to back it up, right? He'd been in some action films before and of course was known as being the son of Bruce Lee. I mean, I just imagine that to be such a cool household to grow up in.
Yeah, because Bruce Lee was cool, huh?
Yeah. Don't add us if that's not true. Let us have some things, please.
No, Bruce Lee is good. He's good, I think.
I think so too. I feel like
I haven't heard anything bad about Bruce Lee.
No one tell us bad things about Bruce Lee.
You know what? I had a lecturer on my master's whose whole career was based on writing about Bruce Lee.
Oh, he wouldn't have done that if Bruce Lee was an out. Oh,
no, not at all.
About Hitler. Oh, fuck, I don't know.
Yeah, his name is Paul Bowman. If anyone wants to read up on Bruce Lee, every book is about him.
So director Alex Proyas, sorry if I'm saying that name wrong, wanted the film to be as much like the comic books as possible. And it's so funny because I literally, when I think of that film, I think of it almost in black and white. Because it was filmed at night, it was so dark, and the comic was in black and white, so it was done on purpose.
Do you know who I thought was a cool character? I can't remember who the fuck he was. He had long hair, and he had like that deep... No! Long hair and that deep voice, the one that says, my daddy used to say to me.
Top Dollar?
I can't fucking remember.
Yeah. But this film, they actually desaturated the colors of the film to make it darker and grimmer, which is, again, a very rare thing for them to do at the time.
Like that film Sin City with Mickey Rourke.
Yeah, filming started on February 1st, 1993, and from day one, there were problems. This is what I didn't appreciate before, is that there were so many issues in the filming right from the start. So on day one, a crane worker on set collided with power lines and got electrocuted. He survived, even though he was burned inside and out.
Jesus. Poor guy.
On the same day, an equipment truck caught on fire. And then while they were filming, a publicist for the movie was involved in a car accident. A set worker accidentally stabbed a screwdriver through his hand. A stunt worker fell through a roof and broke loads of his ribs.
Why the fuck was there so many? Did nobody do a risk assessment?
A worker drove a truck through the set of The Crow. So, like, I don't know, at this point, you'd be like, something's going on. At the very least, if you don't believe in curses, you'd be like, maybe we need to get some sort of health and safety.
Yeah, I was going to say, where the fuck's the health and safety manager with a clipboard?
I don't know. So in March of 1993, there was an ongoing storm in North Carolina where the film was, where it was filmed. So there was loads of snow, loads of winds, which contributed to a lot of damage to multiple sets during the filming. So there was that as well. And then on the 31st of March, 1993 was the worst of the worst. So they were filming in North Carolina shortly after midnight. Not unusual because, as I said, they were filming, a lot of it was filmed at night. On this day, they were filming the flashback scene, the one you just mentioned, when Eric and his fiancée are being attacked and killed by the gang. In the scene, Brandon Lee was supposed to enter his flat where they are already attacking his fiancée, and he instantly gets shot by Funboy. The gun had been used in other scenes and sadly not handled correctly. The 44 Smith & Wesson blah, 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 whatever gun had been used by Funboy in this scene and by others in other scenes, and the only thing meant to be loaded into it was blanks. I mean, I don't know why they would even have non-blanks on a movie set anyways. In the scenes when the gun isn't actually shot, dummy cartridges are used so they look more realistic. So you can see, I guess, the bullets in the gun. And even if no gun is fired, there will often be a firearms expert on set that will check the guns between takes, etc. But for some reason, on that day, the firearms expert was sent home early, and no one else was trained enough to do this job. Which makes me think, well, then maybe you shouldn't have done any scenes with guns. And we're going to talk about parallels with a recent case, because I'm sure
I was just going to say, with Alec Baldwin.
This is crazy that this is, what, 30 years previous to what happened on the Rough set. And it's almost, not identical, but, you know, there's so many parallels, right? It's like, did no one learn a lesson? One of the bullets was improperly set up, so a cartridge got stuck in the barrel of the gun, and no one there noticed because no one was a fucking expert, because the expert had got sent home. Then the dummy cartridges were replaced with blanks for the scene where the gun was actually meant to be fired. Blanks actually use gunpowder and primer to simulate gunfire, but nothing actually projects out of the gun. So they make the loud bang and probably spark or whatever, but nothing actually shoots out of the gun. Unless there is something wedged in the barrel of the gun, which there was, because one of the previous cartridges used was wedged in that gun. So they're filming the scene where Funboy aims the gun at Brandon Lee and shoots him in the stomach. This is fucking heartbreaking because of the nature of the scene. Because obviously BrandonLee is meant to be dying in the scene. It took a while for anyone to realize that Brandon Lee was actually hurt.
Oh no! Oh, that's
I
so
know, that's
sad.
awful. Don't even fucking think about that, do you? But obviously they're just thinking he's acting.
Oh no! So if they got him quicker, would he have survived?
I don't think so, but I just like, can you imagine
being in pain and no one's helping you?
No one, and not being able to communicate that actually knows something's fucking wrong. It was only when blood started forming around him that people realized that he was actually hurt.
God.
He was rushed to hospital and had surgery for nearly 6 hours. The bullet had hit him in an artery in his stomach and lodged against his spine. The shooting was at around 12:30 a.m., so like middle of the night, and he was pronounced dead at the hospital about 12 hours later. He was only 28 years old.
God.
Fucking grim. So poor Michael Massey, who played Funboy, I wanted to, I was just thinking like, fuck, what happened to him? Because obviously not his fault at all, and yet he was the one holding the gun that killed
Brandon the same as Alec Baldwin, huh?
So because of this incident, it haunted him, obviously. He actually stopped acting for a whole year, and I'm surprised he ever went back. He developed PTSD as a result of this. So just heartbreaking. I've said that so many times, but there's no other word. Apparently, there were about 5 opportunities where the wedge cartridge should have been spotted. Do you know what? I just want to say that I don't know if it was the urban legend at the time or what, but like I always thought that the scene that he got shot on was one where he goes into the gang's like headquarters and stands on the table and they're all shooting at him and then he falls down.
That's what I thought. I thought it was that scene.
So I don't know if that's just a rumor that got spread around in the 90s. But basically, as you can imagine, there was loads of debate then about whether or not they should release the film. And if so, how much to change the script, how much to include, et cetera, et cetera. They decided to release the film as part of his legacy, and I'm glad that they did, because I think that overall it was done respectfully and tastefully, and it is part of his legacy, and loads of people know of Brandon Lee because of this film. I don't know if I would know who he was if he didn't play the Crow, because I probably wasn't going to see him in one of his action films, right? If I'm honest. So they also had a huge debate about whether to show that scene where he got shot. It's like a key scene in the film. It's when the characters actually get killed and why he comes back as the Crow. So do they keep that scene in? Do they reshoot it? Do they edit it? Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then also there was a lot of debate about which, if any, of the actors or people on set should be charged with anything. Was anyone criminally responsible for this horrific accident? But horrific and avoidable accident. So like I said, another reason why I wanted to do this now is because this sounds almost identical to what happened in the Rust production incident, except 30 years have passed since. So, and I have to admit, I don't know the full ins and outs of that one. Maybe we'll cover it again, but it's just bonkers to me, especially now that you have all of this CGI and all of that special effects or whatever, that they would even have real guns.
Yeah, I was going to say that. Why do they need to simulate like a real gun? I mean, yeah, you would have thought computers can do that.
I don't know. There were also loads of rumors flying around at the time, obviously conspiracy theories about whether this was intentional, who the victim was actually meant to be. Was it meant to be Brandon Lee or someone else on set? But sadly, it's just a bunch of really unfortunate events that lead to this terrible, terrible incident. Like Eric Draven, Brandon Lee was also engaged to a lady called Eliza Hutton. They were due to get married the following month on the 17th of April, 1993. He had proposed to her in Venice, and they had 2 rescue cats. But instead of getting married on the 17th of April, Brandon was buried on the 3rd of April. Eliza was the one who had to give the news to Brandon's mother and sister.
Oh no.
Oh, it's just every part of this case just hurts to read. On the set of The Crow, Brandon said his next and most important role was being a husband to Eliza and a father to their future children. Oh God, I might cry.
So sad
I might cry.
So sad that his mom was still alive. I knew his dad wasn't, but it's sad that she was still alive to have to experience that.
So you mentioned that his dad wasn't alive. This also led to a bunch of conspiracy theories because his dad died from a really sudden death at the age of 32. His official cause of death was swelling to the brain by allergic reaction to headache medicines.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so obviously dying so young and at the prime of his life and peak fitness and everything, you can imagine there was a bunch of rumors going around there too. Some of them I think might be slightly racist because I don't know how much in fact they are based, apart from the fact that these victims are of a certain ethnicity, because one of the conspiracy theories was that the triads were responsible.
Okay.
That's like if I dropped dead and someone was like, yeah, it must have been Hamas. So they're I mean, to be fair, they are a Chinese gang who supposedly had a grudge against Bruce Lee because he refused to be in any of the films they funded. So he had taken a stance against them, and they were involved in, like with the mafia in a bunch of other industries, they were involved in the film industry in China. So, but I mean, are they going to kill him because of that? I don't know. One of Bruce Lee's final films, he was actually filming a film within the film where he gets shot by a real instead of a prop gun, which also led to, sorry, I didn't explain that well at all. let me explain again. He's making a film, and in this film, his character is filming a film.
Okay, okay.
In that film within the film, he gets shot while filming by a real gun instead of a prop gun. So
Oh,
basically, his
what actually happened to his
character
son?
dies in the same way
Oh
as Brendan Lee.
God. Oh, I don't like that. That's creepy.
Because it does sound like a fucking plot from a film, right?
Yeah. Didn't
So,
know that.
there were also rumors that the shooting was included in the final cut. I definitely heard that. I heard that was... No,
No.
it wasn't. It's
Oh,
not
okay.
true. But
Okay.
when I was of the impression that it was the scene when he was shot while he was standing on the table
Yeah.
surrounded by all the gang, I thought they had included it. Or at least I know that I'd heard rumors that they had included that in. But obviously, none of that is true. They have not used any part of the shooting in the final film. The original film cells were actually destroyed as soon as the police were finished with them for their investigation, which I think is the right thing to do, because you know that those would have popped up on some fucking sick, twisted auction, right? The case was actually closed really quickly as it was proven to be an accident. There was only 1 week of filming left, and so Paramount, remember who are making the film, had some decisions to make. Do they continue with the production? The fiance, Eliza, and the family actually gave their blessing to continue with the film because Brandon was so passionate about it and worked so hard on it. So that was, I think, part of the main reason why it did continue. But Paramount were really worried they would be accused of profiting on his death. So Miramax bought the film and completed the production.
Is that Harvey Weinstein? I think
Is
so.
it? I don't know.
Yeah.
They pumped in an extra $8 million into the film.
To
They
do
had
what?
to,
Once it filmed? Once it was filmed, where did the $8 million go?
Obviously they had to make some changes. They had to amend the script, and they still needed to film some key scenes with Brandon Lee, but they couldn't do that. So they cut down the attack scene where Brandon Lee died. And I still remember that scene, one of the most memorable scenes, because even though they cut it down, the violence and the sexual assault that were implied rather than shown, the faces of the perpetrators, I mean, those actors, well done you, because Funboy, you were truly horrifying.
Yeah, I don't know that they still make scenes like that now.
Do you know, I think
that I can think of. I don't,
because of the reliance on like special effects and CGI and all of the amazing things, some things have been lost, haven't they? Like when you think of like an Alfred Hitchcock film.
Like the grittiness, the grittiness.
Like when you think of how spooky an Alfred Hitchcock film is, when you think of how low budget it is compared to, and how there's like, I mean, there's special effects. Look at the birds, but you know.
Do you know what it's like? It's like how, British crime dramas are amazing. Like the BBC crime dramas are amazing because they're very like gritty and very real. Do you know what I mean? Whereas like American crime dramas are so overly produced that it loses that realness, and that sort of thing.
And I think without all the special effects, you have to rely more on like psychological, fucking people up psychologically. So what they did, so they had to refilm a bunch of stuff. They had to change the script a bit, and then where there was supposed to be Brendan Lee in the scenes that they still had to film, they used a stunt double called Chad Stahelski. He was credited as Chad Storelson at the time. So
I bet you Googled him to see if he was hot.
I mean, he was in the documentary, and yes, he was. So the script was reworked. Sarah's narration was added afterwards. So that to me, I can hear her voice,
right?
Yeah. She was like the sort of like runaway latchkey kid who was friends with both Eric Draven and Shelley Webster, and who was left on her own when her two friends were killed, and throughout the whole film, she's narrating. And that was added after the fact, I guess, to help the plot along, where they had to cut some scenes. The opening scene, for example, was created with computer graphics using some earlier footage of Brandon Lee. So they also chopped and changed some of the stuff they'd filmed before. CGI was used to replace Brandon's face onto, like, to put his face on Chad's face.
They
if
had
makes
that
sense.
back then?
It
Shit.
wasn't that, it was like state-of-the-art technology at the time. And you can't, to be fair, you cannot tell, can you?
No.
And, you know, it's similar to what movies such as Fast and Furious 7 had to do,
Mhm.
and Gladiator, when actors Paul Walker and where Oliver Reed
Who
died
died?
respectively.
Oh, Oliver Reed and Gladiator, know that.
Yeah, when they died before filming was completed.
Oh.
The Crow was finally released in May 1994. It was #1 on opening weekend, taking in nearly $12 million, which probably sounds like nothing today, but at the time was a big deal. And then rentals and purchases went through the roof since then, because it is now a cult classic for sure. I mean, it came up a lot in our 90s when we asked people for the People's Pulse for their top 90s films. It came up a lot, or maybe I talked about it a lot. I don't know, but it's a great film.
Yeah, top 5.
For sure. There was a sequel, City of Angels. Have you seen that one?
Yeah, I was gonna say the actor. It wasn't obviously it wasn't the same actor, and I can't remember his name because I keep thinking Shimon Perez, and that's a totally different fucking person. I know his
Yeah,
name was
no.
Perez.
City of Angels. I talked about the film and I did not put his.
Yeah, I can't remember the guy's name.
Oh,
Obviously, it wasn't as good, but
Vincent Perez.
that's it. Shimon Perez,
Perez.
very different person.
Yeah, but now I want to make that movie poster. Post-production D, get on it. After you finish making Notorious Lesbian merch. So the sequel, City of Angels, Eric Draven, Brandon Lee obviously wasn't in it, but Ash Corvin was. So it was the same storyline in that Corvin and his young son are murdered, and Corvin comes back a year later because the magical crow visits him to seek revenge on his and his son's murder. The best thing about the sequel, did you say you saw it?
Yeah,
Iggy Pop.
I fucking don't remember that. I haven't seen these since the 90s. Are they on Netflix?
I don't think so.
Oh, I want to do a rewatch.
What I didn't know was that there were some other TV shows and films and stuff brought out under the Crow franchise. They all did really poorly, so that contributed to this idea that the whole of the Crow was cursed, because I don't think City of Angels did very well either.
No, it wasn't the same.
It wasn't good.
Mm.
It wasn't good. The rights to the film now belong to Sony, because they wanted to make a remake of the original film. So you know how everyone's doing reboots now, so not sequels, but remakes of the originals.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know where I stand on this. Can you think of one where it was like...
Well, one where it was good?
Hmm.
No, I can't. But everyone's like up in arms about Star Wars, huh? Which I can't relate to because I'm not really into Star Wars at all.
Yeah, but they're sequels or prequels or whatever. What I mean is when they...
Do you know
literally...
what I really think is that certain things belong in a certain era and they can only be understood by people who were there in that era, because it's like a cultural thing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not received in the same way by people who weren't there to experience that whole era. Like the reason it's meaningful for us is we remember those songs coming out. We remember that era very well. You know?
I mean, the ones that I have seen, they've changed them quite a bit.
For example,
so they've adapted them for the time.
Mean Girls, they've remade that. I haven't seen the second one, and the first one came out when I don't think I was a teenager, so it didn't really resonate with me that much. But like, I don't know. It's got to be a totally different movie because the people watching it now, that generation don't know 20, 30 years ago. So
like, I haven't seen the remake of West Side Story.
Oh no, I haven't. No.
I don't really want to.
Mm.
I haven't seen the remake of It.
Oh God, when's there one? You know, I just think when they make a remake, it loses the original charm.
Yeah.
Because the original charm was, you know, all the things that were relevant to that time, and that's not applicable to the remakes anymore.
So I'm just looking at a list of remakes that are supposedly better than the original, but I don't agree with any of them, so I'm not going to read any of them out. All right, so they wanted to do this with The Crow. So basically make the Brandon Lee version of The Crow again with someone new, et cetera, et cetera.
Do you know what
I
it's
don't
like? You know what it's like? It's like how, what's the generation younger than us? Gen Z?
Mhm.
How they started dressing a few years ago like it was the 90s, but they don't remember the 90s. So
Yeah,
it's like, what does it mean to them?
I
You
know,
know,
I know.
it's like that time I wore flares to go see Forrest Gump in the 90s. I wasn't around in the 60s and the 70s. You know, it's okay to wear flares. It's okay to like wear old fashioned, but it just doesn't mean the same to you. You
Yeah,
know,
it's just not got the emotional
no,
attachment
yeah,
behind
the
it.
nostalgia, yeah.
So Sony wanted to remake this film. They wanted to start in 2013. It's like more than 10 years ago now. But there were problems before they even started. So again, is this franchise cursed? Luke Evans was supposed to be the Crow, and I don't know him from anything, even though he's been in loads of stuff. So just
I've never
Google
heard that
him.
name.
Even
Yeah.
after I looked at the list, I was like, no. There were other people that were considered for it. Ryan Gosling, Bradley
No,
Cooper,
what?
and one that I did like for it, Nicholas Hoult.
No, they're all good actors, but they don't have the right
I mean,
flavor.
I'm not on
Nicholas
board with the
Hoult
idea of
from
making a
About a
reboot in the
Boy.
first place, huh?
Nicholas Hoult from About a Boy.
Yeah,
Why the fuck do you think he would be good? I mean,
because
he's a good actor, but I just don't see him in that role.
maybe because he's been in a few things. He was in a zombie film and a few
Oh,
other things. I
oh,
don't
okay,
know.
okay.
Anyways,
I remember him as that kid from About a Boy.
so they were discussed at various times, with regards to this project, and then they fell away. But then in 2017, so like 4 years later, they're still not, making this film. Jason Momoa was announced as the Crow,
Mm.
but then
He's
he
been,
stepped back, and I am a fan.
yeah, but he's still not right.
Yeah,
Too butch, to be honest. The 90s is
yeah,
about skinny. Skinny.
goths are skinny.
Yeah. I've never seen a butch goth.
No. So some say
We've
that the
seen a
curse,
few.
yeah, some say the curse continues today because, this project to remake it has just fallen apart. The original director spoke out in 2017 about how he thought it would be disrespectful to Brandon Lee's legacy to make a reboot. Kind of agree. Make a sequel if you want, but a reboot of the original rubs me up the wrong way. And so now this film is on hold again, hopefully forever.
That's
So
gonna be good.
yeah, so I didn't really realize that there were all these other accidents on set. I didn't know the full story behind when he actually died, how he died,
Was anyone
what.
charged or no?
No one got charged. I'm sure everyone got traumatized, but no one got charged. So I just wondered if you wanted to get a little bit more depressed and listen to a list of other actors who died during the production of a film or a TV show.
Okay.
Not necessarily on set, because that is actually quite rare. John Eric Hexam in 1984 was a young actor who accidentally shot himself on the set of the TV show Cover Up while playing with a prop gun loaded with blanks. The force of the blank cartridge caused a piece of his skull to be driven into his brain, leading to his... Vic Morrow and two child actors, Micah Din Lee and Renee Shin Yi Chen, were killed during the filming of Twilight Zone, the movie, in 1982. A helicopter stunt went awry, causing the aircraft to crash and decapitate Morrow and one of the children. Sorry, yeah, that's a lot. Ray Kinnear, a British actor, died in 1988 while filming The Return of the Musketeers. He fell from a horse during a scene and suffered a broken pelvis. Complications from the injury led to his death. And then one that I might actually cover at some point in the future, George Reeves, who played Superman in the TV show.
Was that his name?
Yeah, because the other one is also called something Reeves.
Okay.
Christopher Reeve.
Yeah.
The one who got paralyzed. Yeah, but in the TV show, the actor is called George Reeves. He died in 1959 and the series got cancelled. He didn't die on set. He died in his bedroom, supposedly of suicide by gunshot, while there was like a party going on downstairs and his wife was there and there was alcohol and drugs and it was all very strange and one of those where the timeline's a little bit blurry. Do you know what I mean? At a time when there's fixers in Hollywood. Yeah. So yeah, that's my little foray into the 90s for you.
How the fuck did it happen on the set of Rust? Like, I remember the handlers were investigated and all the spotlight was on them, right? That there was negligence.
Well, I'm waiting for all of it to get wrapped up because I don't think it is, and then maybe I'll cover that one too.
Yeah, because that's the thing. It's all in the media and then it disappears and you just never know the conclusion.
Yeah, and it's because it takes a long time for things to go to trial, for decisions to be made, and then there's appeals and blah, blah, blah. And I like to cover a case once it's all been resolved is the wrong word, but it's always nice to know what the outcome has been, right? So yeah, Brandon Lee, this one is dedicated to him because honestly, he played a big part of our lives, our formative years.
He was one of our like 90s hunks.
Yeah.
He was our 90s top toddy.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Yeah.
I want to go watch Brandon Lee. I want to go and watch some Brandon Lee films.
Yeah, I might check out some of his previous films.
I've not seen any others other than The Crow.
No. But I've seen The Crow approximately 400 million times.
Yeah. Yeah, we had our 90s films on repeat. I think that was quite common for people in the 90s.
Yes, because we had our hands full of VHS.
Yeah.
Videos.
Yeah, it wasn't easy. You can't just like go to Netflix.
Yeah, we didn't have streaming services or the internet.
It's funny, isn't it? Because kids these days, I don't think they do rewatches like we used to have to. It's like I remember we had our cartoons on like VHS and we'd watch over.
I know, it'd be like, do you want to watch The Crow, Terminator 2, Citizens on Patrol,
Police Academy
4, Citizens on Patrol.
Yeah.
Or My Fair Lady.
You had your collection of VHS cassettes, and that's all you would watch for a decade.
Yeah, until there was a clear out sale at Blockbusters.
Yeah. Oh my God, are you going to the charity shop and get some from there? Yeah. What a time to be alive. I'm so happy we experienced it.
I'm so happy we grew up in that time too. But I'm also very grateful for Netflix.
You know, Blockbuster on a Friday night.
Oh my God, when you got enough money together, when you managed to scrape the pennies together to also get popcorn.
I was just going to say, what made it even better is you'd get to tell you, like, I'm going to buy some fucking popcorn. I'm going to buy some fucking snacks. And it would be like a big epic event to go and watch that film and eat those snacks.
I kind of miss that because you don't do that with Netflix films.
Do you know, the thing is, we take everything for granted now. Like, I get Uber Eats to deliver my groceries. I have Amazon. I got like 3-4 deliveries a day because I don't go to any shops. Everything is from groceries to like printer paper comes delivered.
Shout out to Tesco's Whoosh.
Oh, they have that too?
Oh, so good. It literally, in less time than it would take me to get off my ass and go to a Tesco's, it's at my fucking
Whoosh.
door.
I love that name. That's a good name. And
they deliver within 20 minutes.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, that's why I use Uber Eats because they will deliver your groceries like in the instant. It's magic. But yeah, like we take all these things for granted now, but I think we really fucking appreciated a lot of things a lot more. Like honestly, going to Blockbuster was a fucking event. And then, you know, it was exciting.
Yeah, you have your friends around. Remember, we'd have sleepovers.
Yeah. Oh, we had some good sleepovers. Our house was like the fun house because our parents let us do whatever.
They didn't give a shit, and they had a lot of alcohol. They let us smoke and drink.
Oh,
sorry, our parents don't listen to this, but some of our friends' parents might. Your kids got drunk with us. Sorry, not sorry.
But you know, the funny thing is we're always such a good influence because we were such geeks at school, huh?
Well, we made sure they did their homework, and then when we got them drunk, we held their hair back. So, yeah.
I also remember, side note, smoking in the school toilets with you, and I can't remember one other person. Maybe it was Liz. I think it was Liz.
Yeah, I used to smoke all the time in the school toilets.
We get away with it.
I don't know how we got away with literally half
No,
the
but
shit
how
that we
were
got
we
away
in the
with.
fucking
Like,
toilet
I
smoking?
actually
And
don't know how we got through the 90s alive sometimes.
But how did we not get caught for smoking in the school toilets?
I don't think anyone really cared what we did.
We got good grades. We
Yeah.
had good GPAs. Oh, it's so funny. Grade point average. We have to explain that.
Also, our dad used to come into the school with his cigarette in his
Yeah,
hands.
yeah.
So who are they going to report us to?
I remember all those school concerts and shit. He had to come to. He's sitting in the front row with a cigarette in his hand.
I mean, you say all of the school concerts. I remember him coming to like maybe 2 in
Yeah, well, when he was there, all the ones he attended. Oh yeah, we've got an embargo on talking about him on the podcast. But Karen said she loves it.
He never said these things to me. So
He said it to me.
Meh.
It was after we said he takes the free hotel shampoo.
Well, he does.
Every time we get a bag of the freebies, he presents
You know,
it to you like
he
it's
travels
gold.
less these days, and my hair is feeling it because those hotel shampoos and conditioners are much higher quality than the ones I buy for myself.
Yeah,
So
the free pens. I miss the free pens for you.
yeah, I run out of pens now.
Now I gotta buy them on Amazon.
And
For the first time.
notepads.
Yeah.
All these things I have to buy myself now that our dad is pretty much retired.
Yeah.
Not traveling to conferences. I suppose we could get off our asses and go to conferences. Just fucking buy our own shit like people have to do. Anyways, I need to hear the people's pulse.
Okay,
because I've been so excited about it. Because
Yeah.
I saw this as a meme on Instagram or something, sent it to you and was like, this would make the best people's pulse.
Yeah. Okay, so this is a good one.
Tell me it wasn't a duffer question.
No, it was a good one. You can tell it's a good one when we have responses. It's a duffer one when everyone's like, don't give a shit. So, okay, so this is the scenario. Oh, people's pulse music.
People's pulse. People's pulse.
Okay, so this one is.
So the question is.
Okay, yawn. I'm so sorry. Excuse me. Okay. The question is the scenario. We presented a scenario. You've been kidnapped. Your kidnappers allow you to keep posting on socials to pretend everything is okay. What would you post that would alarm your followers without the kidnappers knowing that you're asking for help?
Do you want to answer first or do you want to read?
Okay, so instantly I knew what mine was. Normally I like to read through the responses and kind of decide after I've read everyone else's, but instantly I knew what mine was. Mine would be, hey everyone, why don't you come over for a party at mine? A, I fucking hate a party. B, it would kill me to have it at mine and people touching my stuff. That would be
my God.
I think that'd be the most obvious one.
Mine would be, I just voted for the Tories.
Oh yeah.
Or, no thank you, I don't need another cup of coffee.
Oh my God, I love this question. I love this question. Okay, so our friends at Seeing Red with the podcast.
Oh, did you see that they've rebranded and they're now a spooky podcast?
I thought that was an April Fool's.
I'm a fucking idiot.
No, I don't know if it is, but you know why I hate April Fools? Because I'm like, is that real or not? Sometimes these companies bring out fake products in April Fools, and I'm like, oh, that looks really good, and then you realize, oh, it's an April Fools. I'm like, why do you do that? It's not funny. I fucking hate April Fools. I don't understand that kind of humor. I don't get it. I don't find it funny. I don't find it fucking funny. Don't like it.
Well, maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. Anyways.
No, I think it was an April Fool's. Anyway, sorry, I need to sniffle because I've got cold.
Okay, sniffle, but also can you turn your camera down a little bit? Because when you're reading from your phone, half your face goes. Yeah.
I've been sick. Okay.
Okay, good.
Sexy. Okay. Oh, Bethan says hers would be how much she loves Mark, her co-host. Then Fiber Floozy Craft says, I hate coffee. You said similar one, huh? And then Jess Amy says, I don't like pizza.
Good.
And
These are all
yeah,
solid.
now, honestly, I'm thinking about all the posts that I've seen where you're like, why the fuck did they post that?
Oh no. I
Yeah,
don't
now,
think that you're actually granted social media access when you've been kidnapped.
all right, okay. So then our fave Sam of Lazy Mule Art fame says, posting lots of pictures of myself would raise suspicions that something was drastically wrong. Either that or declaring that I'm doing dry January or February or any month or weekend. Oh, I'll tell you another one that like people would know sums up. You know, those posts on Facebook, people post a picture of their husband or their kids, and they're like, my
Hubby,
world. It's always the my world. I fucking can't. Can't with that. I mean, obviously, your kids and your partner hopefully are your everything, but it's just the
and your sister,
and your, but it's just it's
you better
the
fucking post a picture of me and go, my world. It's my
no, but
birthday next
it's
week.
the
That's what
fact
I want for my birthday.
it just people are gonna think I'm kidnapped if I post it. I'll do it, and we'll see the response. But
Yeah,
honestly,
let's see who
it's
cares
just
about you enough.
it's when people say that and then the fucking globe emoji. I don't know why it just nauseates me. People can do what they want on their socials, but it just nauseates. It gives me the ick.
But
It gives me the ick.
Rhonda will mute you or unfollow you. Yes.
You know, I won't. I'll just think differently about you.
Just judge you
Yeah, I can't help it.
harshly.
I tell you what, this podcast has like taught me a lot about myself, and one is that I'm judgy, and I can't fucking fix that at this stage of my life.
We're on our high horse.
Yeah, I can't fix it. I can't fix it. I'm trying.
No, why bother?
No,
It's too
I
late
try.
now.
Yeah,
It's
it
too
is
late.
too
You're
late. Yeah.
nearly 40.
I know. I've survived this long being a judgy bitch, and
People are listening to us for it.
yeah, maybe they're listening. I don't know.
I don't know. They might be listening to judge you back. All right. Well, who else we got?
So then we got Chris, who said, "Oh, he said made me laugh to hear you guys watch Maths Australia. Yes, we fucking do.
Oh my
Fucking
God.
excellent.
Mhm.
Oh, those fucking men. Why do they pair these lovely women like
Can I
these?
just say,
Yes.
seriously though, why are these experts? There's two people on there. I'm not going to name them in case I get sued, but there's two people, two men. Abusive behavior is what I would
Everyone
call
will
it.
know. Everyone will know who it
Everyone
is.
will know. I have not said names. How are they allowed to still be on this show?
I don't know. It's irresponsible and reckless that the production
Right?
lets that still happen because it's clearly controlling and
I
abusive.
mean, I know we just did deaths on set and this, that, and the other, but we could do a whole fucking season on people that have killed themselves after being involved in reality TV shows.
Yes.
Where they have not received enough support from those production teams. And
Yeah.
fuck knows, are these three experts are allowing this to happen? But anyways, sorry.
So, our US Karen says, I would post negative comments about being a mom, also how animals are not part of the family and are replaceable and no big deal when they die or are lost.
I was gonna say, if I made a post like, I don't even really care what Lola's up to right now.
Karen, that's funny. That's a good one. Then, okay. Oh my God, Susie. Okay, Susie says,
Susie!
I'd probably put up pictures of two odd shoes and a splinter. Oh, she says, I lost my dad in 2008. My dad once went to work with two odd shoes on, and he had a massive splinter in his backside when we were on holiday in Scotland. The splinter had to be cut out. Ouch!
Of his backside.
The docs then gave him a tetanus injection. Dad went over the road to a pub and had a whiskey. Tetanus injections do not react well to alcohol. He ended up back with the doctors the following day. And if I put those pictures up, only my mom and sister would know what they meant and would know I was in trouble. There's been a few times one of us had quote unquote done a dad and we had to ask whether it was the shoes of the splinter. Thankfully it's only ever been the shoes. Oh, my dad.
Susie, that one was heartwarming. Your dad sounded like a legend.
Yeah. I want to know how he got a splinter in the bum.
Yes. Does he know how the splinter got injected into his bum?
I'm gonna send her a message.
Susie, we have follow-up questions.
Yeah,
and they are about your father's ass.
We always have follow-up questions.
Yeah.
So then we've got Paolo who says,
Who's Paolo?
Paul Bestel.
Oh, hi. You never
Hi,
answer.
Paul. Huh?
He never answers. He's got his own podcast.
Oh, and he says,
Wait.
my warning would be, I don't believe in Bigfoot. So
All right,
then we
so
got, oh, okay, our Jane. Oh,
wait, no, wait. He is you gotta follow this fucking Instagram account if you like hilarious memes. He is on he's a co-host of the Ghost Story Guys and also Mysteries he's also got an account called Mysteries and Monsters. So check out both of his. He's awesome. He's a fucking legend. We're gonna meet him hopefully at CrimeCon or something.
okay, cool.
I can't remember what we said we would all be at, but yeah.
So our Jane, legendary Jane, says, if I posted anything nice and lovely about my hubby, my family and friends would suspect something was wrong.
Oh, another one. If I put, I miss being married.
Oh, yeah. I tell you one thing I find really weird when people like post to their partners messages on social media to their partners, and their partners are like sitting next to them. Or why don't you just say it to them? I don't get it.
Or text them if you're in another
Like,
room.
to my amazing husband.
Oh, yeah.
He's in the house.
Because they want everyone to see how amazing their husband is.
I don't.
I think we're just jaded fucking bitches, to be honest, because I'm sure a lot of this is very nice.
Oh, it's very nice.
And it must be very nice to have it done to you if you're not cringing.
No,
And
I would cringe. I would cringe. I would cringe. I don't like public displays of affection. I don't judge other. No, I do. I just bitched about how I judge people. No, I don't like public display. You know, be modest. You know, be modest. I think that's what I'm trying to say. Right.
We also, I just want to say, I come from a culture where you're not really meant to like brag and boast about what you got. So we weren't raised with this like public sort of not boasting, like
can we talk
displays
about
of
bragging and boasting? That's another one of my fucking things I can't stand. And it's true, we were raised that you don't fucking do that. You don't boast and brag. It's so fucking gross. Like when I hear somebody say I'm amazing or I'm awesome or I'm really amazing at this, it's the weirdest fucking thing. It's the weirdest thing. It's alien.
It's bizarre
I find it so weird.
to us.
But also,
I mean, luckily we live in Britain where people are really bad at even accepting compliments about others and their,
but like,
you know, from others.
I love people with like a self-deprecating sense of humor, you know, because also I also think like if you're good at something, why you gotta convince people? Let them decide if you're good at it, or why do you care?
We're freelancers. We have to convince people we're good at shit all the time.
But you show them. You don't have to fucking tell them. Show them your work. Do you know what I mean? You don't have.
Anyways, let's hear more. We've judged a lot today.
You cut me off when I talk boring shit. Okay, there are more. Sorry, there are more.
Yeah, I know there's more.
There's more.
I've been seeing messages coming in, fucking flooding in.
Yeah, you have. Yeah. Okay, so. Oh, okay. So Joanne, Twickenham Joanne says, I had such a glorious commute this morning.
Love it. I just want to take the opportunity to say that I've got another event coming up for St. George's Day on the 24th of April, which I know I took the Life in the UK test. I'm British. St. George's Day is on the 23rd, but the brewery market shuts on a Tuesday, so it's on the Wednesday. We will be having an event to celebrate St. George's Day, Homegrown Horrors. Joanne, buy your ticket. See you there. Julia, buy your ticket. You're local too, so my dearest Julia. Julia, you too.
She said that I've been to a great nightclub. Anyone who knows me would certainly know that I don't go out after dark. Julie, I feel you. I'm held hostage after 8 p.m. I cannot leave the house. So by my kids, not my husband.
Yeah.
So yeah, I feel you. And it's the best excuse ever. Best reason. Okay, so then we've got Michelle. Michelle, I won't say her surname because we don't do that. But Michelle, your friend Michelle.
I have lots of Michelle friends. Does she walk dogs?
Yes. Okay. So making friends with a tarantula, I'm looking after. He's really quite cuddly. Then we have Jerry from CrimeCon, who has her own podcast as well, the True Crime podcast. And she says, I'm going jogging. So then there's more, I think. No, that's it. But that was a lot. That was probably the most submissions we've had since favorite 90s movie.
Yeah, Thank you, everyone. That was amazing.
So what the fuck makes you guys like the People's Pulse questions? Where are we
You
going?
guys suggest questions then.
Because do you know what I tell you what they don't like? The financial ones.
Okay, no money. I forgot the British, they don't like to talk about money.
So what would you do for 100? What would you do for a million? They don't like that.
Yeah, they don't have to submit their annual accounts to their father, so it's probably
Oh my God, every single time I see him and you do, how much is left in your mortgage? What's the interest rate?
Are you in the black?
Left?
How are you financially?
Yeah, every time.
Normally, when you pop around for a quick cup of coffee on a Sunday morning and you just want to relax.
Do you remember on his birthday, like last year, he wanted to talk about
There was something
morbid.
something was happening, and we told him you're not allowed to talk about this thing on your birthday when we're all together. And so he sat in the corner quietly the whole time because it was clearly on his mind.
He wanted to talk
not.
about like his will on his birthday. So awful.
Happy World Autism Day.
Yeah, it's controversial.
Is it?
Yeah, it's very controversial. I don't 100% buy into. Well, look, it used to be called
Autism Awareness Day, isn't it? Or is
yeah,
it?
but then it got changed to autism acceptance because awareness is not ambitious enough. It should be autism acceptance. But the reason it's kind of controversial.
I want to start calling it Autism Dominance Day.
Yeah, but you know, the reason it's controversial, like I'm sure a lot of these days, is that politicians, organizations, whatever, they make a big fuss over it for the day or the month because it's technically for the whole month, and then nothing happens. For example, all the promises of this, that, the other that were made last year, employment rates, budgets, nothing has changed, and also that people do a lot of things, even well-intentioned, that are, like the whole lighted up blue, and how like at Halloween they were selling blue buckets, for autistic kids to use, and these kind of things. Like I can see the intention's good, but they're not really well received. So yeah, it's mildly controversial.
I know. And we get this.
I'm very black and white with things. This one, I kind of see both in the sense that
because also, if we didn't have days like this,
then
even less would be done.
Yeah, and yeah, exactly. So I think it's one of those things where it's well intentioned, like all of these awareness days, well intentioned, but pretty meaningless.
Yeah. But one thing I will say, because I learned about this at a lecture I went to, for example, when the Black Lives Matter movement, a lot of people posted black squares on their Instagram and everything. And apparently what that does, and with the hashtags and whatever, what that does, it drowns out the actual posts that have things like facts, calls to action, whatever. So like, if you are going to share something for any kind of day or to raise awareness for anything, share a call to action, a cause, a podcast that you can listen to, like
that's it,
something useful, not just like
the other thing is,
an image. Really.
Yeah. The other thing is that when it's Autism Awareness or Acceptance Month or Day, you see a lot of the puzzle pieces, and the puzzle pieces are actually considered offensive. And I do agree with that, because basically it's a really outdated symbol, which has now been changed for the infinity symbol. And so the puzzle piece is considered offensive because it was supposed to represent that people who are autistic are sort of missing something, or, still childish. Do you know what I mean? I'm not explaining it well, but yeah. So don't use puzzle pieces, please. Even if it's well intentioned, use the infinity symbols instead.
But going back to what we were talking at the start of the show about Palestine and the acts of solidarity, that is also, I think, useful and important. Allies for any cause, to make people feel supported is good, I think. Yeah.
Do you know what, also I remember reading a funny meme about how on these awareness days everyone's like, they think that what they should be doing is being really nice to those people on that day. But actually what you should be doing is, like you said, post something meaningful, educate people, inform people. Don't just like,
I haven't done that. Have you?
About autism awareness?
On ours?
On ours, what? No, I haven't actually, but I have for all my clients.
All right, well,
Oh,
do one
sorry.
for us. We talk about this
No,
shit all
sure.
the time.
I know. Well, yeah. It's mainly because there's that controversy around it. But anyway, yeah, we do talk about it almost every episode.
Every episode.
So
All
we
right,
don't.
well, on that note, I'm gonna go.
I'm gonna go too.
That's it.
You're gonna go.
Yeah, and there's no show without us, so I'll probably press stop record before I leave. All right, love you very much.
Love
Sexy
you.
listeners,
Oh,
send us
you-
pictures of you guys wearing your sexy listener merch.
And also,
People are buying
thank
it.
you for your contributions today for the People's Pulse. You make the
Thank
show.
you. We've got to think of another one because we're recording tomorrow night too, aren't we?
I think so, yeah.
I'll work on it. All right, love you.
Love you.
Love you, sexy listeners.
Love you.
Bye.
Hey there! Thanks for being a loyal listener.
Do you need a new website or want to boost your social media performance? Or do you hate podcast editing? You've tried optimizing your website and social media channels, but you're still not getting the listeners, downloads, and engagement you want?
We, the Sake sisters, love helping people with tasks that they hate. We know a thing or two about podcasts, websites, and social media, and we love working with other podcasters and business owners.
So why not head over to switchbladesisterssocialclub.com and go to our Work With Us section. We believe in collaboration over competition. A rising tide raises all ships.
Bye!